What's good? Half Blind back with another video, and today we're going to be breaking down some newly released EA gameplay footage for College Football 25. If you guys like this content, please like, comment, and subscribe because it helps out my channel a ton, and I'm going to be doing a lot of college football content coming up, including another video for a deep dive into the campus huddle that they did, which has a lot of data on the gameplay and a lot of interesting stuff, but this here is just going to be a video for the video footage that they released. We're going to break it down as we go through it. Should be a short little video. All right, let's jump into it.
Hey everyone, Kirk Herbstreit here, and welcome to the official EA Sports College Football 25 Gameplay Deep Dive. Today's focus is on the exciting new Campus IQ gameplay.
I'm going to stop here and there and do some commentary on what's going on and what I've seen in the deep dive campus huddle. So right here, one thing you notice on these two things, they bring up the option and the 1 foot out of bounds animation. Those options specifically seems like it's going to be a big focus this year. I saw a lot in the deep dive about option and triple option and different ways of running the option. And it looks like it's going to be even some different control schemes. We'll get into that with our deep dive video, but it's just really interesting to see that they're putting a big emphasis on option this year, which is really good for the college game. As most of you know, that's huge to college, bigger to college than it is to pro.
Play feature set, which includes the new wear and tear system, player abilities, Homefield Advantage, unique playbooks, and a host of new mechanics that deliver the explosive, fast-paced gameplay.
First off, thank you to EA for putting my Jayhawks in the trailer. I really appreciate that touch. That's a nice one. But on top of that, I did want to touch on a few things they said there. So they showed the wear and tear system. That seems like it's going to be huge into next year's system. They talk in the deep dive blog about hits to the throwing arm, decreasing throwing power, throw accuracy, things like that, hits to the legs, making players go slower. And you kind of saw there, I believe that was Milrose got hit in the arm, and it might cause some issues with his throw power. And if you don't get him out of there, he could get an injury. And that's obviously big when you may not have a great starting quarterback behind him, or I should say a backup quarterback behind him. So those are some big things. The abilities we're going to touch on a little bit later in the video here, but they talked a lot about player abilities, and that's got some people kind of on the fence on how they feel about certain abilities. Certain abilities people are thinking are overpowered already. We'll just have to see, in my opinion. I think they could come out and counter some of them, but there's one in particular that people are really worried about. We'll talk about that here in a minute.
Unique to college football. Let's get into it. The new wear and tear system changes how you approach every snap. Wear and tear is a progressive player health system that prioritizes strategic substitutions and diverse play calling to keep your players healthy. With wear and tear, every hit matters, but not all hits have the same impact. And a single hit, like a blow to a quarterback's throwing arm, can change everything, just like it can in real life. Every hit scales differently and will have unique effects on a player's performance as damage and fatigue add up over the course of a game. Managing wear and tear is critical to your team's success, both in a single game and over the course of a season.
I messed that one up. That wasn't Milrose, but honestly, OU, you left the conference, so sorry, not sorry, my bad, but I promise it wasn't intentional. Kirk just hit on a lot of the stuff I had already talked about earlier with the wear and tear system about the throwing arm, but it's cool to see some of those graphics about how that's going to look and how potentially you start to get more in the red. Your players are more likely to get hurt, and obviously in Dynasty and things like that, it's going to cause some big issues. And really, I think they put a lot of focus into Dynasty based on some of these gameplay decisions that they made. Just decisions like this look like it's going to really play into the Dynasty. So that's pretty cool for those of you. And let's be honest, a lot of people are excited about the college football Dynasty coming back. So this is pretty big for those guys and for me too, because I want to play some Dynasties. So awesome changes. I think it could be interesting on how to do load management on worse teams. We'll just have to see.
In EA Sports College Football 25, we're introducing both mental and physical player abilities that help separate highly skilled players from untested freshmen. In contrast to the pros, where superstar talent is generally balanced across the league, the player abilities in college were designed to showcase the overall discrepancy in player and team skill levels. Physical abilities boost attributes like breaking tackles or can provide protection from wear and tear. Mental abilities enhance intangible traits like leadership, pre-snap clarity at the line of scrimmage, and staying calm under pressure. Here you can see the stadium pulse meter is maxed out, but the visiting quarterback does not have the mental ability, headstrong, which provides resistance to distractions. The visiting quarterback here does have headstrong active, so he can see the field more clearly and will be less prone to mistakes for this play. A player can have up to 8 abilities, and they can scale in effectiveness, providing situational advantages throughout a game that ignite the dynamic and unpredictable moments that make college football so exciting.
All right, I'm trying to let the video play a little bit because I know I always get annoyed when people stop, but we do need to talk about some things in this. A lot of things actually came out about this that you may or may not have noticed. First being the abilities. If you want to take a screenshot of the abilities, you can. Obviously, that's not all of them. The page scrolled down a little more. The Deep Dive Campus Huddle said that there's going to be 80 abilities for the players, so there's going to be a lot of different abilities. And the one that people are worried about being overpowered, I will show here in a second. But that one was in the presentation that Kirk Herbstreit talked about, and that is Field General. This is why people are worried about Field General. So this is a lower level of Field General. When you get to Platinum, you can actually see more of the play, but the quarterback is actually able to see the play pre-snap, at least at the lower level, see blitzers, but you'll eventually be able to see coverages and even disguised coverages when you get up to the Platinum level. So all of those badges you saw earlier, I call them badges because I came from 2K, and really this does feel like a 2K badge system. All those badges have tiers, and Platinum is the highest tier. When you get to Platinum, you'll be able to see the disguise coverage. You'll be able to see everything. A lot of people are calling that a wall hack. So here's my thing. We don't have the game yet. It could be. It's possible it could be. I am not denying that at all. But my hope is that there is some counters to that, and EA has talked a lot about doing balancing, and hopefully they are balancing it with a defensive counter or a coaching counter, because coaches have abilities as well. So hopefully they have a balance to it, or even the away crowd noise that they have going on, maybe something with that, or maybe it's just hard to activate that particular ability because it's not always on. They have to do certain things to activate it from the sounds of it. So it's possible it may not be OP, but that's one to watch for. It could be. Talking about crowd noise, here's the meter for the crowd noise, and they did mention this being a throwback to NCAA 06. Well, they didn't say NCAA 06, but they said 06. Actually, now that I think about it, good call not saying NCAA 06. But they did mention that in the meter is a throwback to the 06 game, which now that I look at it, it actually is. It does look like a throwback to that. I haven't played 06 in obviously a long time, but it was one of the games that I loved back in that time period, the really 04 through 06 time period, or sorry, 04 through 08 were probably some of my favorite games, although 14 was great too. Anyways, I digress. Still cool that they had a callback there, and then also we'll see what the Homefield Advantage does to the players. This is a quarterback with lower composure. Sorry, Tennessee, they made you the example for the lower composure quarterback, but what you see there is a couple interesting things. So to me, the routes being wavy doesn't really change much. You probably already kind of know what you're doing. But those question marks are interesting. I don't know if that means the player doesn't know what the call was, and so maybe they run a different route than what's picked. I don't know if that's just to say, oh, well, you don't know what icon it's going to be, which that's the case. That's not that big of a deal. Usually pre-snap, you already kind of memorize where your icons are, but it's still kind of an interesting twist that those icons are gone. I'm more curious to hear more about those question marks. All I've heard so far is really just that it looks like it makes the route a little harder to see before you call the play and when you're doing hot routes. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what all they do with that. Couple things to note here. So one, the receiver that had a question mark over it does look like it ran a streak, but then also it looks like the quarterback didn't throw to a streak. So I don't know if that's going to be the quarterback having that confusion and maybe throwing wrong routes, potentially thinking, okay, maybe that was a comeback. We'll have to see how that works. That could be interesting. Maybe it's just the quarterback doesn't know what the receiver's route's going to be in that situation. Also, there is the new throw meter, if you've been wondering about it. And that new throw meter, it's going to go over a lot more in the campus huddle, and I'm not going to do the campus huddle in this video. I'll do a separate video for it. But it's going to, if you throw it in the red, you're going to have a lot higher chance of having an interception. Yellow is just going to be inaccurate, maybe interception, may not be. And then blue, and then I think there is, if I remember correctly, actually, no, I think that's the 3. I don't know that there's a green zone. I'll have to look again, but the blue is where you want to be. And I believe it's similar to Madden, where tapping it is going to be the more lofty throws, whereas holding it is going to be the more of a bullet throw. And it's going to kind of use that meter to try to see if you can drop it over defenders or get somewhere in the middle where you kind of can get over maybe a linebacker, but before a safety, things like that. So that's the way the throw mechanic looks like it works this year. Lastly, in the abilities in the news section, I wanted to bring up the kick meter because it does look like they changed the kick meter, and they did talk about it in the campus huddle again, so we'll go more in depth in that, but it looks like you have to stop it in the middle there on the side to side, but then you also, when you stop it, you're going to hold your button and it's going to go up to the top of the arrow, and that's going to be your kick power. And if you go too far on the kick power, that could also cause some issues with accuracy. So it looks like it's going to be 2 timing based buttons. Well, 1 button, press and hold, and timing on both to kick, which is different than how Madden does it. Honestly, Madden's kicking's been the same for quite a while, so it's kind of cool to see a little change. Let's be real though, I know a lot of you guys don't kick field goals, so you probably don't care that much, but that's also clutch kicker that they're showing on the screen there as well. So take it for what you will. Kicker ability and a new way of kicking.
From Tiger Stadium to Happy Valley, we're pumping the sights and sounds of the most iconic and daunting home field environments right into your living room. And with Homefield Advantage, the host team has the upper hand. As the visiting team, you'll face various degrees of home field advantages impacting confidence and composure levels, on-field performance, and more. Home field advantage will disorient players with lower composure levels more than it will for the level-headed players. Decisions like audibles and hot routes will become more difficult because these stadiums will be rocking. So it's more important than ever to keep your team in manageable down and distance situations. With 134 FBS teams to choose from in EA Sports College Football 25, the wide range of play styles is something you can't experience anywhere else. From wide splits in Oklahoma, to the triple option at Air Force, to Michigan's dominant ground game, the playbook variety makes for unique matchups every game. Fake out your rivals with new user reverse handoffs, explore the new option game, and other new trick plays.
I'll let it run there because I think most of you guys knew what Homefield Advantage was going to look like already. I didn't really get a good idea of what composure was going to be like still with those question marks, so I still, well, have a question mark on that part. But another thing you got to see there was the different levels of Homefield Advantage, and then also you got to see how I was saying they focus so much, it looks like, on the option this year. I don't know if that means it's going to be overpowered, but I do know they put a lot of work into it, and trick plays for that matter. I know they have different control methods, which is going to take some getting used to. There's different ways of doing pitches. There's different ways of running these trick plays and kind of stopping them halfway. To what Kirk was saying about how it's more of like a user-controlled reverse kind of situation like that. I think you can maybe choose on the second handoff, things like that. That's what I got out of reading the blog. Again, we'll jump into that more later, but just seeing that piece and putting it with what I've read in the blog so far, it does look like there's going to be more control on trick plays, options, RPOs, everything like that.
With more teams throwing the ball all over the field, College Football 25's revamped passing mechanic adds control and variation to every dropback. To expand player variation at quarterback, we focused on tuning situational throws and an array of new trajectories that will provide more passing control with a timed button press. Other new gameplay mechanics will give you more control before and after the snap. Adjust the length of your primary route with custom stems. Switch players directionally with the new switch stick for post-snap control. Master the new kicking meter and call a number of new hot routes at the line. For more on gameplay and playbooks, check out the Campus Huddle blog. Subscribe today to get the latest EA Sports College Football 25 news. To make it game day every day this season, pre-order the MVP bundle, which includes both EA Sports College Football 25 and EA Sports Madden NFL 25 for Xbox Series XS and PlayStation 5. Till next time.
There were a couple good features mentioned here regarding the passing game. One of them being the route stem, where you can adjust the length of the route. I love that. And then also the extra hot routes. So in Madden, I believe it's a like Hot Route Master or something like that. There's already abilities to give you multiple hot routes. It sounds like every quarterback's just going to have the ability to call more hot routes, which to me I think is really good. I think that's a plus, just being able to do the extra hot routes like that and adjust the stems of the route. And they did even mention there being some new routes that they're adding, or at least a new route that they're adding to the hot route tree. So I think that's going to make some good variation in gameplay. Here you get to see what a red looks like, and this ball didn't end up being intercepted. But if you're not from 2K, you got to get used to the fact that they're going to be saying red a lot. Like well, they'd say green it if you made it, but then if you make a red on somebody, that's what they'd say in 2K is somebody hit a red on you. Well, if somebody completes a pass, they're going to be completing a red on you. It's gonna happen. It's a thing. But now you see what it looks like when the pass meter hits red, bad pass. And the other thing they talked about here that I really like is the way they're talking about being able to switch. And it sounds like you're going to be able to switch. If I understood it correctly, with the right stick, you'll be able to switch to the player. And then when they throw the ball, once they throw the ball, I believe you go back to the normal switching system so that you can do things like hit sticks. But that switching with the right stick should actually make it to where that you have a better control over who you're switching to, which I love because I hate it in Madden where I will accidentally switch the wrong person. Maybe it's a skill issue, I don't know, but to me, that little tweak is a big tweak. I really like it, and I'll have to see how it plays, but it could be really cool, I think. That's all I got for this video. I'm really curious to know what you guys are thinking about the gameplay that you've seen so far. Are you excited about it? Are you not? Let me know in the comments. Let's get a conversation going. Is there things that you're worried about being broken in the game, or just does it look pretty well balanced to you? To be completely honest, something I want to mention real fast is that I wouldn't expect this game to be 100% perfect at launch. They're rebooting a franchise that's been gone for over 10 years. It's going to be a little bit of growing pains in there. So I hope, I can't ask people who paid money for a game to give some space, but for me, I'm going to give some space to this game because I want this to be successful. And I think that the devs and everybody put so much work into it from the sounds of it that they really want it to be successful as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of focus at the beginning of this game of making tweaks, balancing things. What I would just say is wait for things to play out a little bit. Don't necessarily jump into, oh, it's great or oh, it's awful. It's going to be different at the beginning, and there's going to be a lot of tweaks going on, I'm sure, like there are at any game, but especially this one rebooting a franchise. So just give it some time, see how it goes. Don't jump to any conclusions, but just be excited that college football's back, because I am definitely excited. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'm out. Peace.